Hi everyone, welcome back to Choosing Turtles. My name's Imogen. In today's video, I am sharing 5 ways to stop self-doubt. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. So, how do we stop self-doubt? Self-doubt is pervasive, and when we doubt ourselves, we often self-sabotage as well, so it can lead to that, so we don't want that. How do we do that? How do we not do that, rather? The first way is to use the information you have to make the best choice you can. You can only work with the information that you have, or the information that you can find, okay? So it's okay to do a little bit of extra research or whatever, but once you've found all the information you can, you have to just make the best choice that goes with that information, okay? And, there might be other things that you don't know that might help you make this decision, but you can't blame yourself for not knowing that. So do the best with the information that you have at the time, and that is the most you can do, okay? You should be proud of yourself for that. Number 2, remember that things work out surprisingly well, surprisingly often. Now, what do I mean by this? Do I believe in luck? Maybe, kind of. I don't know, but what I mean here is that often things work out well, even if they don't work out exactly how you had envisioned, okay? So if things are kind of going really chaotically and you're really doubting yourself, 9 times out of 10, I found that things work out. And I don't really have an explanation for this. But if you're doing your best, it's usually fine, okay? I don't know how this works, but I know that it does. And things will work out. I don't know, I've been through this so many times. Sometimes I doubt myself and I just jump in head first and I do my best and it works. It just works. And I've heard this from other people as well. I've seen it. So trust me on this one. It comes from experience. All right. The next thing that I want you to remember is that everyone else is also winging it. You know that you have other people that you look up to and you're like, oh, I wish I could be them. They seem to have it all figured out. They're so put together. They are winging it. Okay. I am winging it. I do not actually know what I'm going to say next. I have notes for this video. Obviously I have notes, but I tend to have a set of basic bullet points and then I kind of ad lib off of it and I talk about, anecdotes that I find relevant or whatever. So I'm winging it. I'm winging this video kind of. I have a script, but it's not a word for word script. I didn't write down, say word for word script next, okay? I didn't say that. I didn't write that down. I didn't plan that. So everyone else is also winging it. And to a much greater extent than you would imagine, okay? It is surprising sometimes how much other people are winging it. And that's okay, because it means it's okay for you to also kind of ad-lib a little bit, to wing it. Also, I want you to remind yourself of times you've been right in the past. When have you been right? Because if this is kind of funny. So sometimes I make ambitious plans, okay? If you've been on my channel for a while, you might know this about me. Sometimes I make ambitious plans and sometimes I share these with other people and they'll be like, there's no way in hell you'll do that. And then I come back a year later and I've done the thing and they're like, oh my God, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, I was right, okay? And I've definitely had people come up to me afterwards being like, oh, I didn't think you could do that, but congratulations, okay? So those incidents have reminded me to be really confident in myself and to know that I'm making the right decision, even if other people are a bit like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea, okay? So remind yourself of times you've been right in the past. I'm not saying to never listen to anyone else, but I'm saying in general, you know best for yourself, okay? Also remind yourself of your achievements so far. I often say to myself, if I achieve this, this, and this, I can achieve X other thing that I'm trying to achieve, okay? So have a list of your achievements so far. Have a list of times you've been right and review those lists regularly if you feel like you're in a space of self-doubt. And finally, this tip changed my life. Understand that the worst case scenario is usually not actually that bad. What do I mean by this? What I mean is I want you to actively think about the worst case scenario. What's the worst case scenario, okay? In a travel situation, the worst case scenario, okay, I could die, but realistically that's not going to happen. The worst case scenario is I get stuck somewhere and I can't get home. Okay, and in that situation, what do? In that situation, I'd call my dad, or, I have an emergency fund that I would use to book an emergency flight. Okay, so I've planned those things. And the worst case scenario, when I think about it, actually it sounds scary, but it's not that bad, okay? What's the worst that can happen? Also, in most cases this doesn't apply. So like, for example, if you're learning a skill, what's the worst that can happen? Like with ice skating, I fell over on my ass. Okay, so I get up. Okay, you're kind of bad at something to begin with, join the club. Everyone's bad at something to begin with. The worst thing you can do is let your self-doubt get in the way, let your dread of the worst case scenario get in the way. Like, visualizing the worst case scenario has helped me out so much. Like, every time I'm scared of something, I'm like, what's the worst case scenario? And then I realize that the worst case scenario is not fucking scary at all. Like, I am not scared of that, okay? So when you've thought about it and when you've actually like written it down, it looks so much more manageable. And you're like, you know, if the worst case scenario happens, what the hell? Who cares? I can handle it, okay? And that leads you to become a lot more confident and, well, not fearless, but kind of fearless. All right, those are 5 ways to stop self-doubt. I hope that's helpful. The worst case scenario is never as bad as you think. You got it. You can kick its ass. Make sure you're subscribed, follow me on Instagram, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.